What you're about to hear will shock you to your core. This isn't just another wrestling story. This isn't just another backstage incident. This is a calculated, vicious, career-threatening assault that has left one of WWE's brightest stars fighting for his career and possibly his life. I'm talking about Bron Breakker, the Beast, the next-generation powerhouse, the man who was supposed to carry WWE into the future. And right now, as I record this, he's in critical condition after what can only be described as the most brutal betrayal in recent WWE history. Bronson Reed, a man Bron called his brother, a man he trusted with his life, has committed the unthinkable. And what happened backstage wasn't just an attack, it was an execution. Hello viewers, if you're new here, please don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button for daily updates on WWE Raw. If you think you know what happened, trust me, you don't. Because what I'm about to reveal goes deeper than anything WWE wants you to know. This is WrestleVault, and we don't hold back. We expose the truth. Here's what we know, and what WWE is desperately trying to keep quiet. It was supposed to be a normal night. Bron Breakker had just finished an incredible main event performance. The crowd was electric. The energy was unmatched. Bron was on top of the world, heading backstage with that signature intensity we've all come to love. He was scheduled for a sit-down segment with Bronson Reed, his tag team partner, his supposed ally, to discuss their upcoming championship pursuit. But the moment those cameras stopped rolling, the moment WWE thought nobody was watching, Bronson Reed revealed his true colors. According to multiple sources backstage, Reed didn't just attack Bron, he ambushed him. We're talking about a premeditated assault that was planned down to the second. Reed waited until Bron's back was turned, until his guard was completely down, and then, wham, he struck with the force of a freight train. Witnesses report hearing a sickening thud that echoed through the corridor. Producers, crew members, even other superstars came running, only to find Bron Breakker motionless on the concrete floor, with Bronson Reed standing over him like some kind of monster, breathing heavily, eyes wild with rage. But here's where it gets even more disturbing. Reed didn't stop there. Oh no. While Bron was defenseless, Reed proceeded to deliver multiple tsunami splashes, his devastating finishing move, right there on the unforgiving backstage floor. Not the ring, not the canvas, the concrete. Can you imagine the impact? Can you imagine the damage? We're talking about a 330-pound man dropping his full body weight from height onto another human being's spine and ribcage. Once would be devastating, twice would be criminal, but 3 times? This wasn't wrestling, this was attempted murder. Medical staff rushed to the scene immediately, and what they found was horrifying. Bron Breakker was barely conscious, struggling to breathe, with visible injuries that made even hardened WWE veterans turn away in shock. Blood, bruising already forming across his torso, and worst of all, the inability to move properly. They rushed him out on a stretcher while Bronson Reed just stood there, showing zero remorse, zero humanity, just cold, calculated satisfaction. The betrayal that nobody saw coming. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why? Why would Bronson Reed do this? And that's the question that's tearing through the WWE universe right now like wildfire. Because on the surface, this makes no sense. These two were brothers. They came up together. They fought together. They bled together. But let me tell you something that WWE doesn't want you to know. This betrayal has been brewing for months. Think back. Think about every tag team match, every backstage segment, every interview. If you look closely, and I mean really closely, you can see the cracks forming. Bronson Reed was always in Bron Breakker's shadow, always the sidekick, always the muscle, never the star. Bron got the championship opportunities. Bron got the main event spots. Bron got the respect from management, from legends, from the fans. And what did Bronson get? The scraps, the leftovers, the good hand treatment that every wrestler fears. My sources tell me that backstage tensions had been rising for weeks. Reed felt disrespected. He felt overlooked. And every time Bron's star rose higher, Reed's resentment grew darker. There were arguments behind closed doors, heated exchanges that nearly came to blows. But WWE kept it quiet. They wanted to preserve the team because the merchandise was selling, the storylines were working, and breaking them up wasn't the right time. Well, Bronson Reed decided to make it the right time on his terms, with his message. And that message was written in Bron Breakker's blood. But here's the twist that's going to blow your mind. According to an insider who spoke to me on condition of anonymity, Bronson Reed didn't act alone. There are whispers, unconfirmed but persistent, that this attack was sanctioned, that powerful people within WWE's power structure wanted Bron Breakker taken out. Why? Because Bron was becoming too big, too popular, too difficult to control. He was the kind of talent that could write his own ticket, demand his own terms, and WWE's corporate machine doesn't like that. They like their stars controlled, managed, and beneath their thumb. Could Bronson Reed have been a pawn in a much larger game? Could this attack have been orchestrated by forces within WWE who wanted to send a message to every rising star that nobody, and I mean nobody, is bigger than the company? I'm not saying that's definitely what happened, but I am saying that in the cutthroat world of professional wrestling, stranger things happened. And the silence from WWE management, the lack of immediate consequences for Reed, that speaks volumes. Let's talk about the reality of Bron Breakker's condition, because this is where things get truly frightening. When WWE says someone is in critical condition, they're not exaggerating for storyline purposes. We're talking about legitimate, life-altering injuries that could end a career in an instant. Based on reports from the medical facility where Bron was taken, he's suffering from severe trauma to the thoracic spine. Those tsunami splashes don't just hurt, they potentially damage the vertebrae that protect the spinal cord. We're talking about possible compression fractures, herniated discs, and nerve damage that could result in permanent mobility issues. Multiple fractured ribs, at least 3, possibly more. When your ribs are broken, every breath is agony. Every movement sends shockwaves of pain through your entire body, and the danger of punctured lungs or internal bleeding is very real. Suspected internal injuries. The blunt force trauma from Reed's assault could have damaged internal organs. The spleen, liver, and kidneys are particularly vulnerable to this kind of impact. Internal bleeding can be silent and deadly. Severe concussion. Witnesses reported that Bron's head struck the concrete floor during the initial attack. Traumatic brain injuries are nothing to joke about. We've seen too many wrestlers suffer long-term cognitive damage from head trauma. The medical team is monitoring him around the clock. He's undergone multiple imaging scans, CT, MRI, X-rays, to determine the full extent of the damage. And the scariest part? They won't know the complete picture for days, possibly weeks. Bron's family has been notified. His father, Rick Steiner, a wrestling legend in his own right, flew in immediately and has been at his son's bedside. Can you imagine what that man is going through? Watching his son, his pride and joy, lying in a hospital bed because of a coward's attack? This isn't entertainment anymore. This is a young man's future hanging in the balance, a career that promised so much, now threatened by senseless violence. The reaction from the WWE universe has been nothing short of explosive. Social media erupted the moment news of the attack broke. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, every platform was flooded with messages of support for Bron Breakker and absolute fury directed at Bronson Reed. #Justice for Bron has been trending worldwide for hours. Fans are demanding that WWE take immediate action. They're calling for Reed to be fired, arrested, banned from the industry forever. The outrage is palpable and it's not dying down. Fellow WWE superstars have also broken their silence. Seth Rollins tweeted, "This business has unwritten rules. What happened tonight crossed every single one of them. Praying for Bron." Drew McIntyre posted a photo of himself and Bron with the caption, "A warrior doesn't deserve this. When you wake up, brother, we'll be here." Even legends are weighing in. Stone Cold Steve Austin, a man who rarely comments on WWE affairs, said during his podcast, "If what I'm hearing is true, Bronson Reed better hope the authorities get to him before the locker room does. There's a line, and he didn't just cross it, he obliterated it." But not everyone is condemning Reed, and this is where things get controversial. A vocal minority of fans, and I use the term fans loosely, are actually defending the attack. They're calling it good heel work. They're saying Bron had it coming for hogging the spotlight. They're claiming this is just wrestling and everyone needs to stop being so sensitive. To those people, I have one thing to say. Wake up. This isn't a worked angle. This isn't a storyline designed to sell pay-per-views. This is a real human being in a real hospital with real injuries that could end his career and change his life forever. There's a difference between compelling storytelling and actual assault. And if you can't see that difference, you're part of the problem. Now, you're probably wondering, has Bronson Reed said anything? Has he explained himself? Oh, he said something all right, and it's going to make your blood boil. Shortly after the attack, Reed posted a now-deleted Instagram story. In it, he looked directly into the camera with those cold, dead eyes and said, "I did what needed to be done. I'm tired of being the forgotten man. I'm tired of watching inferior talent get opportunities that should be mine. Bron Breakker is a byproduct of nepotism, a legacy kid who had everything handed to him on a silver platter. I earned my place. I earned my respect. And tonight, I took what's mine." Can you believe the audacity, the sheer delusion? Bron Breakker is a legacy talent, yes, but he's proven every single day that he belongs at the top. He's worked harder than anyone in that locker room. He's delivered in every big moment. He's earned the respect of his peers through performance, not politics. Meanwhile, Bronson Reed, for all his talent, and he is talented, has consistently failed to connect with audiences the way WWE needs him to. And instead of looking in the mirror and asking, what can I do better? How can I improve? He blamed Bron. He blamed a man who never did anything but support him. That's not a competitor. That's not a warrior. That's a coward looking for a scapegoat. But here's where Reed's justification falls apart completely. He talks about earning respect, but what he did was the most disrespectful act imaginable in professional wrestling. You don't attack someone from behind. You don't assault them when they're defenseless. If you have a problem with someone, you settle it like a man, face to face, in the ring, where the best competitor wins. Reed didn't want a fair fight because he knew he'd lose, so he ambushed Bron in the most cowardly way possible, and now tries to dress it up as some kind of righteous revenge. So where do we go from here? What does the future hold for both men? For Bron Breakker, the immediate future is about recovery. His medical team will determine the extent of his injuries over the coming days and weeks. Best case scenario,